So, Tayla, it's so exciting to have you on. How are you doing today? How are you feeling?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me on. I'm really excited about having a chat today.
Yeah, us too. I've heard a lot about you from Ash, and I've been very excited to meet the person behind all the stories, all the fun. And
Mm.
yeah, so Tayla,
Yeah, yeah.
you're
Well,
you're you're a trainer.
yes,
What is your business called?
Taylor the
Introduce
trainer.
yourself to our audience.
amazing. So, my name's Taylor. I am a online coach. I do face to face as well, like more strength based. My business name is Tayla Made Physiques.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've been a coach for nearly 8 years now. Um, yeah, and just like as the years go on, like things are evolving, but essentially I like to focus right now my business and my style of coaching in a more holistic way that encompasses the whole person, not just training or just the macros and sets and reps. Like, it's really listening to the person, the client,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
figuring out how we can help them, or how I can help them essentially, and through like a tailored approach. So that's where I'm at now. That's how I'm helping my clients.
That's amazing. Wow. I've been actually really looking forward to this conversation because Ashley has told me that the holistic approach, I mean, we've talked about it amongst each other before, is so rare in the fitness space. And
Mm,
so your approach being so different, it feeling softer, it being more embodied, I think that's something people need to hear from and need to be exposed to a little bit more. So I'm really, really excited we get to have you on. Thank you for joining us. Is
no,
this your
thank you for having
first?
me.
Of course.
I think second, but I guess to talk about more of this stuff, yeah. So I'm really excited.
Awesome. Yeah, that's super
Mm.
cool. Okay, how about
Okay.
we just jump in? And how did the themes of health and fitness first really enter your life?
Amazing. So I think for me, I'd love to sit there and say, like, oh, I just got really inspired by like living a healthy life, and I wanted to just get really fit and healthy. But for me, that journey started quite young, and
Mhm.
I don't think it came from like a good place. But I don't change anything, because I think things that like are meant to happen for us. So, but like, long story short, I for me, I started, training or looking into my health or diet at a young age, around 11. And for me at the time, that was just a way to control aspects out of my life. That's the kind of lesson that I took out of it. But as the years went on, like I tried to learn more about um, nutrition and better ways of training. But unfortunately, the goal was always just to lose weight and always look skinny. And especially like 10 plus years ago, that was the kind of trend in the fitness industry, that it was just, have a box gap, or, be super slim.
Mm.
So that's kind of like how, in a nutshell, my journey started. But over years, things didn't really change until I invested in a coach myself, which changed my perspective. But yeah, like that's kind of ultimately how my journey started.
Mm, interesting.
Back then, it was so interesting because I don't know if you remember this, but some girls were measuring their thigh gaps with rulers at the time.
Yeah.
That was such a big trend, and it was just diabolical.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how much I can share. Like, some of the things that I used to do was wake up and weigh myself, and weighing myself was the way that was kind of like the trajectory of the day. If I wasn't happy with the
Mm.
weight, it wasn't a good day. If I was happy with
Mhm.
the weight, like, everything was fine. But I do remember in high school how much it like controlled my mood throughout the day. If I
Mm.
was not happy, I used to like think everyone else was seeing me the way that I used to see myself. Like, so I would tend to isolate myself a lot, especially after home, like after school. Sorry, I would lock myself in my room. I didn't want anyone to see me, especially if there was visitors. Like, I was just constantly thinking, oh, my weight is not good. I don't look good. I feel a certain way, and I would constantly be. I would lie down on my back and lift my legs and try to see how much gap I had between my thighs. Like, some of the things that we do, and it can be like wild, like pinching my stomach, or like it's constant things that we do. And like, looking back at it, like, I feel almost sad for my younger self, because I was just so young and like having to do that. And now that I'm older, like, I couldn't imagine people who are that age now, like, oh, like, there's so much more to life than this. Like, there is a way. But that's some of my experience at the time.
Yeah. How, I don't know if this is like a lead up thing, something that evolved over time, but since it started from, I would say, like a more, I guess, more self-conscious and a more judgmental, maybe a unhealthy way, when did it start to shift into a more, okay, how can I go about this in a better mindset, or in a healthier mindset, or in a more supportive way that aids you and who you are in your body, so you don't feel so much, I guess, shame for it, for not looking the way that society kind of projects young girls and women to look?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And I think there's a few components that helped me. One definitely was hiring a coach. So, like, after I finished my certificate, I wanted to be mentored by one of the coaches at the gym that I wanted to work at. And one of the things, like I said, I just want to be lean. I want to, like, finally show like muscle, because throughout years, when you're yo-yo dieting, like, you lose weight and then you just bounce back, and then you, like, the ideal look I was going for, I could just never achieve, and I was severely under eating. So fast forward to the coach, she's like, you need to eat more. And I was like, I am eating a lot. He goes, no, you need to eat more. And I remember, I would eat like probably maximum 1,000 calories. I would religiously track. Like, that was not enough. And he was trying to tell me, eat 1,800, like, we'll build a plan. And I was so terrified. And he was even telling me that this is still not enough to eat. But, I'm like, I just got to trust the process. And it is honestly, like, every fiber of me was like, this guy, like, I can't. But, I did. I ended up listening. The type of training as well that he helped me with was more strength based, which in my experience, like, it was all just like my own research, YouTube, like, when I guess the trends were happening. But so he was more around strength. And so as I started eating more and I started doing this style of training, it really changed the way that I thought about gym and my health, because I was like, oh my God, like, this food is fueling me so much. I'm getting stronger. I never felt strong beforehand, because I always felt like I was always switching between things, because there was so much information out there of, hey, like, do the plyometric style training if you want to be lean, or no, gym's good, or no, running's good. And it was just so much information. You're like, oh, how do I navigate this? How do I sift through it? So having, I guess diving into some sort of strength training really helped me. And I like that feeling of measuring my success, like, somewhat objectively. Like, I've got data there too as well now, like, each week I'm increasing weights, or I'm actually recovering well. Like, my strength skyrocketed. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, I want to tell everyone to eat more. I guess, like, that was definitely the spark of, hey, like, women, like, girls, we don't need to be starving ourselves in the name of health. Like, we are allowed to eat more, we are allowed to nourish our bodies and things like that. But I guess what else changed for me in terms of the health space was more my own personal development journey, because I think that's what helped me let go of a lot of things in the terms of the shame. So while I was doing this, the strength training, I was fueling my body. I started to realize that I'm not getting any further than what my mindset is at times. So the more I started to listen to different audiobooks or different podcasts or different ways of thinking, that's what I needed at the time. I felt that to like really progress in my journey, to let go of that shame that I had of like associating my body with worth or those kind of feelings. And, I was allowed to let go. And I realized sometimes that the environment that we are in can really impact our health. Like, just briefly growing up and being constantly commented on the way that I looked definitely impacted my own goals. Like I never really sought out like, hey, what does Tayla want? What do I actually want? Like, this is what society is telling me. This is what my family is telling me. These are what my friends are telling me. And that's why I felt like I kept switching between so many ways of training or methods of eating or like doing this diet. And I never was really happy within the body that I had. So I would say, I guess, to answer that question, that initial coach definitely helped me just like kickstart me into, yes, I can eat, I can feel my body. And then I guess my own personal development journey, really, it's something that, I've definitely needed. And I'm so passionate about like just helping other women realize that we can, if we think differently, that could potentiate like some other result as well. Doesn't mean that you need a whole identity change, but different ways of thinking can potentially promote different beliefs around certain ideas like nutrition or training or even ourself essentially. So
With where it's gone, I am curious to know, did you ever think this was something that could become such a passion for you? And now it's taking you to learning so much more about women's health. Did you ever see it going down this path?
If I'm being completely honest, no. Like when I had been training since I was 14, so like a long time. And in high school, a lot of people were like, oh, you should become a trainer. And I was in love with arts at the time, like drawing and painting. And like I just thought, like actually I did ask my dad once. I'm like, oh, maybe I should become a PT. He's like, no, everyone's a PT, don't do that. And it just never was a thought again, to be quite honest with you. But I know, as cliche as this is, but after school, I just got into job after job, just that mentality, like. And if this could potentially relate to this, that like I felt that mindset. Same with the training, that if I work more and if I push through, I don't have to feel and think. So that's where I was at. And I did kind of have that same mentality with training. But yeah, to answer how that kind of shifted. So at one point I was just fed up. Like, I'm doing the same thing. I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere. I don't feel like I have any purpose. And then I was scrolling Instagram and I saw some quote that said, learn to live and not exist. And at the time that really hit me. And I was like, oh my God, like that's how I feel. And I wanted to find something that I could help people with. And, like I've done so much on my own. And I was like, I could really use this into a passion to help others. And it was always a form of like, I don't want to just sit there and train people. I want to give people the support that I felt like I didn't get while I was trying to navigate through all the information out there. And like, I had a couple of trainers throughout the time, like when I was younger, but I didn't feel like no one was actually listening to me. It was like more transactional, like, hey, you want to lose weight? Here's the plan, or here's the nutrition. Like no one was sitting there saying like no one was understanding. And that was always my mission, to do that. Like put aside the PT lifestyle some people are really drawn to. Like, it was always just trying to help people become aware of themselves, autonomous, and make decisions as well regarding their health as well. So yeah, that's I guess how this turned into a business and where I'm at.
That's incredible. I think it's always such a beautiful thing when you have these, experiences in life where you go through difficulty and then you find some kind of groundedness to then want to give other people what you didn't get earlier on, to help kind of not just other people, but also the spaces in which you occupy, in which case with you, it's in health and in fitness, to then move it along and push it further and make it a more inclusive, even space for everybody to just be like, hey, girls, we can eat stuff, we can build ourselves up. And there's this mental aspect and this holistic aspect to it as well. I love that. I think that's so impressive. Just listening to you, you're fantastic.
Thank you. I would love to add though into that, like, and obviously things change as the years go on, but a big part of that was I was trying to use, or I am still essentially using like health and fitness, essentially like gym weight training as a tool to help women navigate that control in their life.
Yes.
In a healthier way, not like the way that 11-year-old Tayla was doing, but essentially like when you somewhat control your behavior, what you eat, how you think, how you feel, like as best as we can. Obviously that's not, that sounds good on pen and paper, but and then you get a result and it's like, look, I actually have this evidence to prove that I can do the things that I want to do. And so I felt like, this space was just I guess a tool or a vehicle to help women get there. Some people might use other things, but as much of this journey is a big thing, I feel like when we kind of zoom out, it's a small portion in your life that, that you can potentially commit to training and fixing up your diet a little bit. And then, like I said, you're stacking evidence you're stacking the evidence for you, saying, look at all these things I can do when I put my mind to it. And then I've had many clients go on and do other things with their life, like a whole 180. Actually, I don't want to be in this job. I can do this now. Or, actually, let me go back to studying, or just being super content with the life that they have, but just more purposeful. And I feel like, that training element is just like a vehicle to help you get a little bit more confident.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a domino effect. And that's incredible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ripple effects. Passion, what's the word? Passion helps other people thrive in something internal that it sits there waiting for something to activate it. I heard something like that from someone, and I thought, when I started strength training with Tayla, it was like, it's something that I've never done in this way. I've been to the gym before, but in this experience, it's like doing it and then feeling this internal activation of, I actually really like this, but not just me, my body's enjoying this too. Like it's actually responding in a really positive way. And it's almost like it's the one gravitating towards it. Because even when you have really crappy days, sometimes you don't want to show up to certain spaces. But I found myself like showing up anyway in this space. Even I'd walk in and be like, I don't know what you're going to get from me today. Probably like me on the floor being at one with it. But, you do it, you show up. And I feel like from hearing you speak, it's just pure, the intention is pure in, I just want to do the best that I can for people who have only known certain ways of fitness. I want to show them that there is a complete opposite and it is healthy and it can be healthy. And it changes my perspective in other ways too, like the internalized thoughts that you were talking about and the stuff that you did as a child. It really does challenge the things that we've always known it to be. When you see a space that is so healthy and holds it just holds the most comfortable space of that, you think, okay, this feels in alignment with health. And that is like absolute of how I feel in this space. And I'm just so excited, like learning as much as you are. And I don't know if you want to talk about what you're studying and would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, of course.
Yes. Please share.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, yes. Okay, yeah. Amazing. So at the moment, I'm currently studying what's now called an integrative nutritional therapist. So essentially, it's looking at how to help people in a more holistic way. So, like through blood work, through symptoms, through like nutrition, like more therapeutic foods, and all those kind of things, and actually like protocols that are accounting for people's lifestyles as well. So that's currently what I'm studying. The reason why I it was drawn to me, I guess, is like after doing, I guess, PT for 8 years. You start to realize that, a lot of women actually have PCOS or endometriosis or have these other health struggles. And it's not as simple as just telling a woman, hey, you just need to eat a little bit less and move a bit more and you'll be right. Like, no, there's actually, physiological things going on. And the more that I've learned as well over the past year, I'm just like, wow, it's actually insane how much the body can potentially compensate for nutrient deficiencies and what else could happen, and all those things. But it's a lot more than just, if you want to lose weight, like enter a deficit. Like it's really helping people in like their phase one and building the right foundations, and then helping long term. So yeah.
That's incredible. After studying these things, is there something that you feel like has changed or evolved over time with how you define health for yourself, how you train people? Like, what is the process like, knowing now what you do know and how you apply that to training people and helping people?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, yeah, definitely at the start, compared to now, things have changed. I like to think like the intention, as Ashley said, has stayed the same. As like that commitment to help people has always been there. So whatever that looked like, Tayla, 8 years ago to now, it's the same intention. So I've put this course aside. Like I've studied a lot of other things where rehab or other training methods, and I really do value education, so that the more I learn, I can help my clients. If I think trainers that don't move past their typical Cert 4 in fitness, you're doing a disservice to your clients, because there's a lot more out there than what you learn initially just to get certified. So I've always had that deep commitment to continuously invest in myself to better help my clients. And, it's a lot, put aside the health issues, sometimes there's injuries that we need to be aware of, or pain. And so I didn't want to be like a specialist in everything, but the clients that I had, you kind of have to adapt as well to the person so that you can help them. So I think as well, what had changed me was my own journey, but also my clients. So I think at the start I was very, when I was younger, like a very hustle grind based person. Like I said earlier, like that was my way of dealing with things. So that did definitely translate into my own training. And I think looking back now, could have translated into, my first 1 to 2 years of coaching. And then after a while, like I did get a few different clients, and I'm like, oh, is this bit of resistance? Like, you can't just tell people just follow the program. Like people have lives, people have social, commitments, they've got families, they've got uni. And for me at the time, I was just like focused on my business and training and like, that sort of thing. So I felt like a bit of a disconnect with how can I help people? Like, and I think over time, I definitely softened a lot with my philosophy and my style of coaching, which I'm glad it did, because now I can be able to understand where clients are coming more from as well. And it was never the intention, like when I say I was a bit hard, like it wasn't a shaming kind of thing. It was just like, that's all I knew, right? And I think my own personal journey of getting burnt out and sick, and I'm like, oh, I actually need to be in touch with my emotions. How can I help my clients do that also? Because, you know, it's that balance, I think, and you got to pick the right time to, when can you be a little bit hard, when can you be when do you need to be a bit more soft, when you just kind of swing in this pendulum, and sometimes you need to be a bit more harder, like some people are too soft. And I think it's not a bad thing, but you know, if you want a certain result, sometimes you need to be a bit more disciplined. So I think like throughout the years, having that really disciplined grind style of mindset and then softening a little bit has allowed me to help clients and meet them where they are, essentially. Like I said, it depending how they're presenting. Do they need that bit of push? Do they have, were they similar to me where they just ignore everything and it's like, oh, constantly stressed, what's the next thing, I need to do this, oh wait, let's slow down things a little bit more. And I think that ties nicely with the education I'm wanting to look for as well. Like, let's go deeper into, what are these symptoms telling you? Why are you constantly getting pain? Why are you in crippling PMS, like cramps? Like, why is it hard for you to lose weight? You know, and again, it's just like bringing that awareness to the body, because in my experience, a lot of people don't have awareness in their body. Like, I'm okay, but like their body's like super stressed, undernourished, they're not sleeping well, and it's like, no, I'm okay. Okay, but life doesn't have to be like that right now. Your training doesn't have to be like that. It can be better. And I guess that's what my aim is navigating people through, I guess, better function, whatever that looks like for them.
Yeah, you don't work through you don't do it through people's shame. You do it through the outside of, let's do it through a healthy flow of your body and yourself. That's literally what your space is. It's just, and people think moving through shame in any aspect of life is a normality. And I do resonate to that. But if you're consistently moving through your human experience in shame and doing everything through shame, then essentially that's all it really is. And you're not doing things through the actual intention of the presence of what you're doing. And do you actually enjoy it? Do you actually feel the experience of it? Like you said too, people find it difficult to acknowledge what their body's feeling, because if you're too busy on the outside of it and you're not actually seeing your body for the existence that it is, it's hard to actually feel the symptoms of that, to understand what it is. But even so, to see that it's not a normality, to be waking up every day and feeling like you got hit by that white truck in the K-dramas that they always put in.
I definitely agree. Yeah. Yeah, I think
it's actually really nice.
yeah,
No
like
shame.
a lot of disconnect. Hashtag no shame. No, I think a lot of disconnect from ourselves, and that's what I guess those check-ins are for. Like, I guess that's one part of how I work. Because like people think, hey, my coach wants this data, but not all of them may be realizing that actually this is an opportunity for me to self-reflect. You know, they're like, oh, why is the coach wanting how my digestion is, or you know, what else is going on? And obviously it's great data for me, because then when I zoom out, okay, maybe this is why there's a bit of a stall in your recovery or your training. But it's also an opportunity for the client to have some self-reflection, and not a lot of people do sit there and have a reflection of a day or a week of like what's going on. And then when you start to be aware of these things, oh, you know what, like I probably feel a bit like crap because I haven't slept properly in a few days and I've skipped a few meals. Actually, I haven't had much water. That's why. So then once you know that, you can potentially prevent it the next time, or just be aware the next time, oh, actually I don't want that happening again, oh, I should drink some water. So like it helps both ways, that like people being more aware and connecting the dots essentially. Because sometimes like I had a client actually, she's like, oh, like had very bad headaches all the time, like to the point where she got scans, MRIs, and whatnot. And then she told me, like, we've been training for about a month, a few weeks, a month now. And she's like, oh, I'm going to get my results. They can't find anything, which is really weird. And then I'm like, how's things been since you've trained? She's like, oh, actually, I haven't had a headache. I'm like, oh, that's great. Like, like, yeah, and it's good to see, or for people to realize, oh, once I start looking after myself, like, look, most times things will start to improve, unless there's deeper rooted issues. But, like, it doesn't necessarily mean things have to be wrong with you. I think people like, and I guess in that conventional way, something's wrong, doctor, give me a prescription.
Yeah.
And I guess that's where that functional space that I'm heading in is, like, I want people to use it when needed, but also it doesn't have to be your first resort potentially. It's just like knowing the options as well.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of people get stuck in their mental space, and then fitness and training, that, like you said, it's a time to check in and drop into your body and kind of connect to what's there. And that realization is perfect. It's like, oh yeah, I've been struggling with headaches. Oh, wait a minute, I don't have them when I'm working out.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Would you say that this is something that you feel like people need to understand a little bit more about their bodies, or is this something that you wish people understood more with their bodies, that once you head into that functional space, that things do get better? Or are there other components to this for you?
Yeah, I think, look, having trained women predominantly, I think the general theme can be, my body's broken, something's wrong with me. Like, it's always like that blame, like there's something wrong with me, and like, I don't know how to fix myself. And it's just, so when you have a look in, I guess, the functional or holistic space, it doesn't, again, just zoom into or just like pigeonhole training and nutrition, like, a diet, or, just reps and sets in the gym. Like, when you zoom out and we look into how your mood is, how's your cycle, how's your digestion, what else is going on for your life? Is it a busy time in uni, or is there stress at work or stress at home? And I think what I would love people to know more is that there's no end goal. You don't have, like, it's continuously flowing, if that makes sense. Like, yes, you can have these little flag posts of, I want to hit this weight potentially. There's nothing wrong with body composition goals, or, I want to help with this symptom. Like, you can have those little goals along the way, but your training and your health should move with you, not against you. And sometimes it's a hard, honest conversation. Like, even with myself, like, I've been, I think, like, at times, super fit, like I was training 4 or 5 times a week, on point with my calorie steps. And then sometimes, like, life for me gets busy with my business and my studies, and I have to zoom out and say, okay, Tayla, realistically, what can I commit to? And that's okay. I think people have unrealistic expectations, and, it's fine to set goals for yourself, but sometimes you need to just have a continuous check-in, I think. Is this goal, like, suiting my lifestyle right now? Yes, awesome, continue. Oh, no, actually, what can I do on my worst day? Or what's going to help me move the needle forward? Does that look like stripping back training from 4 days a week to 2 days a week and doing full body? You know what I mean? Or, maybe I can't commit to 10,000 steps. Could you do, like, 4, 5, or something that's just super realistic for you? I think that's what I would say more women need to maybe have those frequent check-ins with themselves of, like, what's realistically a goal that I can achieve? What's my life look like right now? that doesn't necessarily mean it's always going to look like that. But yeah, it's just the training or your health and fitness journey is unique to you, and you don't need to compare yourself to, you know, those fitness models on Instagram, and like their life revolves around training. Like, you know, you may be your mum, and or you may be studying or whatever's going on for you. Like, I think that's what you need to compare yourself to. And then I think that's where coaching is really helpful, because you've got that second voice to say, oh, actually, you know, you can get out of your head a little bit. This is actually okay. It's reassuring. It's moving with you, like I said. Yeah.
I wish this all was covered by Medicare. So more people would be able to actually have access to it. I was thinking that the other day. I thought, imagine if people had this was covered by Medicare. Imagine how many people would be a part of the field. Do you wish it was?
That's a good question. I didn't think of that. I think it poses the question though, like, if something's easily accessible, would everyone do it also? I think, I don't know, like it's a good discussion.
Yeah.
Like, it would be awesome for people to have this access, but also sometimes when things are too easily accessible, people don't like, I think that change needs to come within you. Yeah, but I do appreciate that it would be nice that it's more accessible to people that genuinely need it and maybe don't have the resources. But yeah.
I get what you mean. It's like, when it becomes too easily accessible, are people still going to value it? Are people still going to take it as seriously? But yeah, it's interesting. Do you?
The GP is covered by Medicare, and that's really what you have available in so many ways. Is the GP, especially here. Typically, they took bulk billing off for a lot of the GPs, but now a lot of them are getting it back. But it's the most accessible option to turn to prescription, because I mean, like holistic path, and I'm saying this as someone who's taken the holistic path for a bit now. To see like an integrative doctor or a homeopathic doctor, it does cost.
Yeah,
and I just think that aside from your space, Tayla, aside from that, from these other spaces as well, I always sit here and I'm like, imagine if at least like something could be covered, so you're not paying all what it costs for a homeopathic doctor.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree that would be better, because like everyone has their own experience, but like the majority that I speak to, that you know, you go to the doctor and it's like a 4-minute consultation, and how are you really going to really quick, just like there you go. here's your prescription, off you go. But there's no like, oh, you know, Ashley, tell me what's going on for you right now, or, you know, how long have you been feeling like this, or, you know, when did these symptoms start? Okay, because usually sometimes, you know, that gives us a lot of information when these things happen. So and like in terms of the GP, like I said, it's just very quick. Even, you know, like nutrition education on their point, maybe only like 4 weeks. That just really basic. So it's just like,
it's still pretty unfortunate. Basic. GPs still, I don't know if you know, they still use the pyramid nutrition thing. Remember that, Nina? I don't know if you had that as well. What was it like
in the offices as like a big poster?
Oh, that's nice.
I think they've changed the pyramid now. But I don't know if that's just in America, but it goes to show as well, like how long sometimes science around nutrition or health becomes available to the general population, how far back it is, you know. So it's like, oh, actually now they're saying, you know, majority of foods shouldn't come from breads and pastas and things like that, which we probably could have known a little bit earlier on, but now it's becoming available. So it's unfortunate how far back behind health information can be.
Do you ever feel like there are things, I mean, we just talked about this, right? Like the knowledge getting to the mass public, but do you also feel like there is stuff very much held back or delayed within the fitness sphere in and of itself, like that there are needs that are not being met in these spaces, kind of in the mainstream ones, I would say?
I think the mainstream fitness, like they're still heavily on the trends of I guess physique looks. And so I think being young potentially, like impressionable, you know, you're looking up to these fitness influencers and then associating health with that.
Yeah.
And I think if there was more people speaking up about health looking different for everyone, then that would be awesome. Like, you know, people would potentially be less disappointed or have these less self negative body image issues. Yeah, if we can, and also I guess with the AI stuff is crazy now on social media. Like there's like filters that move with you, and you know, like, and then it can just make people feel really insecure when you're like, oh, but, like there's so unrealistic expectations, and yeah, like I think just seeing more real bodies, real journeys. Like I know that with social media, it is a highlight reel. You know, people are showing the best versions of themselves. But, you know, I think if more people were maybe keeping it real and, again, like educating people that, yeah, health can look different for you. Like it doesn't have to look like, you know, a six pack and like lean body. It doesn't have to look like never eating a pasta or, you know, some dessert. Like, you know, you're allowed to have balance. And I think, but it's easy to fear monger. I think it's easy to sell when people are scared. It's easy to do that rather than saying, oh, actually, you know, you're allowed to have both. People like sometimes to feel restricted because then it might mean that they're like on the right path or something like that. Yeah.
Shame.
Yes.
Like a priest with a holy water of shame.
Yeah.
It's so interesting, yeah.
It's like angry fruit you were talking about the other day. I don't know if you've seen it online, Nina, the angry fruit where it's like, don't put me in the fridge with strawberries. Like, and they've made it, and I'm going to send you a video. They've been making these AI videos of vegetables and fruit, and it's like angrily telling people, like, don't put me with plum. I go moldy. Like, it's like that.
Yeah.
What people want in the fitness industry. They want the shame, and you just spit in their face and like right there and get them to lift that 150 kilos the next day after the first day of training.
Yeah.
I do want to ask real quick if you're both okay with talking about it, like because Ash is your client. Ash, I don't know if you want to talk about it. Like how has training been like for you? Yes, her client.
1 second, I needed to like liquidate my throat.
Yes, lubricate thy throat.
Yes, thigh is now lubricated. I remember, so I had Tayla online for a bit and I was seeing her videos pop up, but obviously I wasn't in the position to, you know, I was doing other stuff. But anyway, when she started to, it was one of her videos that popped up and she was talking about, I think something to do with mind and body or something along the lines of that, I believe. And I thought, something's vibing. Like I'm liking that. Like I was thinking of strength training because I was seeing it on TikTok, but I thought that it was just something that couldn't happen for me because I was so, quote unquote, from the medical system, injury prone and all these disabilities. It felt like, oh yeah, no, there's no way I'll be able to lift what they're lifting in the videos. You know, I could think that way. But over time, resonating to what she was saying and feeling like, okay, I'm learning that health needs to be for the body and not for the perception of society and what other people want to project. I was learning that and I thought I'm like really resonating to this. So obviously I contacted her and I just went from there. And her questions, like when she started asking, a blood test and I would like to look at the results and I didn't even know that the thyroid could go as far as it did from just like that general testing. What was it called again? T1? Like what was the thyroid?
T4, T3,
No idea.
TPO antibodies. Yeah.
Yeah, no idea. I've been getting blood tests for a long time and it was only like the generalized testing. So when I realized there's so much more to it, I was like, hey, this feels good. Like we're actually diving a lot deeper into stuff. So from then on, to shorten the story, it's tested me in so many ways with vulnerability. I've had to be vulnerable with Tayla in so many ways that I do not do with a lot of people. But obviously, I think anything that comes with the body is vulnerable. It's a very vulnerable space. We all deal with our own individual bodies, and showing that to someone else, it's it's not as if we've grown up in a safe space with presenting our bodies in fragile and flaw and like full of flaws and whatever other bullshit they want to put towards it. It wasn't easy, but Taylor, as I said, made it so safe that like I generally felt the intention of that. Even though she's like, I'm so shy, it doesn't stop the intention that you truly have behind, like whether you're shy or awkward. This is for anyone else out there. Whether you're shy or awkward, it doesn't stop the intention that you're setting with this person, like your general intention of how you're treating them. So I generally felt seen, and it took me time obviously to start to like realize, okay, this is for me, and clearly, like I said, it's working for me. So just to open up a bit more in that space. So it's very safe. It's very safe. There's no shame. She's working with you. That's how I truly believe it's meant to be, working with you and listening to the reality that you have a human experience, that you're not just living in like this one boxed world. We have human, like you were saying, and her actually acknowledging that as well as working with you. Like it's new, and I can't say like what I feel with being in a space that I've not experienced before. It's a lot of feeling. It's a lot of feelings. Truly, when you come across a supportive space, yeah, it's everything for your healing journey. Truly, makes it easier. Truly, it really does.
I'm so happy to hear that. No, I know it can be very challenging to be vulnerable, and like you're even asking for help. It like can be very challenging for a lot of women. It's just like admitting, like we do want to be strong. We want to feel like we have it all figured out, and asking for help can sometimes be even that first step. Like I always try to acknowledge that and tell the person, like, you should acknowledge it for asking for help, even if I might not be the one to help you. Like, go and continuously find the answers. Like, like you obviously have that willingness to be better. So I definitely appreciate that. And like Ashley was saying, that, I really try to encourage my clients to just show up as you are. Like some days you're going to be all all happy, backflipping into the gym, parading in, and then some days, like, something could have just literally triggered you on your way to our session, or just had a rough week, and that's okay. And I think just learning how to navigate your training alongside that is super powerful. Like, trying to just use myself as an example, like when no matter what was happening, it's like, that meme where just like there's fire burning, the building's falling, and you're just like the plane just like, that was me. That was really me. Like, yeah, like I was just ignoring everything until it catches up on you. So in this space now, I try to encourage my clients, like, okay, if you have a bit of a niggle there or something's painful, all right, let's draw it back. Or you're feeling great, cool, let's push, let's work with that, because that is so much more sustainable long term for your progress than just pushing, and then hit a wall and then you're out for ages, and then you do it again and then you do it again. Like, that probably puts you further back than just having a slower approach, but more sustainable, more enjoyable as well. So you don't feel like you're constantly failing, potentially. Like, you're showing up, oh, last week I was doing this amount of weight, this week I can't. And you're like, what's wrong with me? It's like, no, nothing's wrong with you. Your body's showing up the way that it needs to. It's preserving energy, or it's protecting you. And then it's just, again, bringing back to self-awareness. Like, what is your body saying to you? So then, like, you won't feel that disconnect. You feel more connected. You're like, oh, okay, awesome. I'm feeling a bit of pain. What's that telling me? What else can we do? How can we troubleshoot this? It doesn't mean I need to stop training completely. Like in that example, like some GPs were like, oh, no, don't train for 6 weeks. You don't need that. Whereas like strength training is like so beneficial, for injury prevention and pain management. Doesn't mean you need to do that exercise. You can just work around it. So like, just to relate that back, that, I do encourage my clients to show up as they are. We can work through it, adjust the training as needed. And I think that really helps them feel supported and heard, and also in control, because that's what it is about, I think, just gaining that control back, that awareness.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing too to remind people that when you're heading into a space that holds one like Tayla's does, to be as open and honest as you can along the journey, even finding the space for yourself to realize that at the end of the day, anyone in any sort of profession of human is meant to be there for you to help you along your journey. So as much as it's difficult, and I know it is, being as honest and open as you can with your coach, I think, has helped, especially Tayla, to understand certain things to help me out. And that is my guidance for you all. Just be honest, be open. And if it doesn't work with your coach, then there will be, I feel like there is more popping up that are realizing that the human body is more than just deficits and just like putting on muscle. I think people are realizing finally that psychology plays a big part, mental health, as well as physical illnesses and disabilities. So all of that in conjunction, like, not saying that you have to study the entire list, but it's like with counseling, like you can't just do a counseling diploma. You've got to really expand beyond that with clients. Like, people aren't just a one pathway. So
people aren't robots. We're like multifaceted. We have human emotions, we've got experiences, we have beliefs, we have identities, we have all those things. And like you said before, I'm a big believer like that. Coaching is almost like finding the right relationship. Like, you want to make sure that you vibe with the coach and vice versa, because it is a vulnerable space. And, if you don't feel comfortable or that you can be honest with this person, obviously, like, relationship built on trust over time and things like that. But, you kind of have that feeling inside you. But I think, it's really important that for the coaching relationship that you both feel comfortable.
100%.
Yeah. There should be like a Tinder. There should be a Tinder for coaching. I'm joking.
Imagine. I knew that we vibed on the first day because, like, she literally did a full encore. She like came out from the door and did a full Hulk Hogan, like, dun. And I was like, yes, you're the one.
Had Erica Kirk like fireworks.
Yes. Do you know these memes up on the wall too? Like, oh, don't love your job, job your love.
Job
like
your
all
love,
these slogans. That's going to be the thumbnail. It's just going to be you like this, looking at people and be like,
yeah. It's important to have fun with it, I think. People, it's not so serious all the time.
Absolutely.
You're hurting and you're crying on the inside.
Split squats again.
They send me. I told Nina that. I was like, Nina, there's just one certain one that gets me, and it's. And I was trying to think of what it was called, and I found it and I sent it to her, and I'm like, this one here, man, this one here, like this. Honestly, I'm at this point where it's like, maybe it shouldn't be for me. Maybe I should just tell Tayla to eradicate it from the workout plan.
I'm allergic
up
to
that.
allergic to split squats.
If she asks me like, why are you bloated? I'm going to say it's the split squat.
What's coming up for you? I couldn't sleep because of the split squats.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Well, let me just kind of like base it off of that. Like, if working with you could leave one feeling in somebody's experience, in somebody's heart, and just like the essence of that person, what would you hope that feeling is, or that experience will be?
Yeah, I think just helping women walking out feeling empowered and feeling like they have control.
Yeah.
And again, it's just so unique to that person. So like success can look very different from person to person. I think just you feeling like you have the tools, the knowledge, the confidence to go on and do it by yourself, and have that control back in your life, have that self-awareness, and navigate life with your health and your fitness journey, moving with you and not against you. Like, and it's just all about having that self-awareness. So that's what I would say. I'd really hope for women working with me to have that experience.
I love that. Wow, that's beautiful.
Sorry, you go.
No, you go. I'm already finished.
No, you take the lead. I was just going to ask you, for people that are looking to get into your field, do you have any guidance for them?
Like to be like a similar practitioner or like coach? Yeah. Awesome. Well, it depends if you're wanting to add the training element of it. So you would definitely need to get a certificate for in fitness so that you can be a personal trainer. Like you can prescribe training programs. Looking back at what I have done, I think if you're going to do that, you could find a really cheap one just to get the certificate, and then just invest in like mentors and workshops that will teach you training methods better. And you can do like those hands-on workshops. Like some people hold them at the gym. Like I had a mentor for many years, Body Seek was his gym, and he held a lot of workshops there, and like that fast forwarded a lot of my skill as a coach. That would be, I guess, the fitness side of things, like get mentors, be coached by a coach, and just for the sake of getting qualified, just find something fine for now. In terms of the health space, so currently I'm studying with the Institute of Health. This is a phenomenal institute because there's so many resources in it. There's so much guidance from the mentors, and they're continuously ongoing with updating the data and the research. So, whatever, let's just say blood markers might have been optimal ranges a couple of years ago, they're constantly checking and updating it through data. So like I'm always getting, I guess, live research and support as well. I've learned so much about a lot of things where it comes with autoimmune conditions, gut health, women's health, thyroid, and a lot of those things. So Institute of Health would be definitely a big recommendation for that. But if you're just continuously investing in your health, and I think as well mindset as well, you know, whether it's audiobooks or, you know, or getting help yourself. Like that's always a good one because, yeah, you're dealing with people essentially. So I think, you know, better sort your own shit while you're helping others, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So, with another question for you, what's something about your work that most people don't fully understand until they experience it?
Yeah. I think at the moment, sometimes people struggle with differentiating the difference between PT or personal training and coaching. And sometimes you can do a blend of both, which is what I have done in the past and currently do. And PT, essentially, or personal training, is an incredible um, like valuable, it's incredibly valuable for like learning movement and building strength, but coaching essentially goes beyond the session. So that looks into like your stress, your sleep, your hormones, your mindset, your relationship with food, your identity, and all those things kind of impact your results. So it's not about just like getting through the workout and then off you go. It's helping you become someone like who can stay in that lifestyle long term. So that's where the coaching element is. And I think like once people start to actually get involved or into the process, into the program, they're like, oh yeah, like this is a lot more than outside of like just the session, you know. And some people do want to just do gym only, which is incredibly fine. But some people like genuinely want to understand why things are happening to them, or what does this mean. They want to be in control or have more self-awareness around their body. And I think that's where coaching really helps because it goes beyond the session, it goes beyond training, and it looks into everything as a whole. So yeah, that's what I would say would be, I guess, the difference with that. And that's definitely the avenue or the coaching model that I'm heading towards, especially introducing now that functional health space too, to better improve the coaching service, where yeah, we can definitely look into what your blood work's saying, what your symptoms are saying, and things like that. So that's where coaching is essentially.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
To
As
that.
you look ahead into
Yep.
2026 and beyond, what kind of spaces or experiences are you wanting to create more of for yourself, for your business?
Yeah.
Anything really.
Yeah. Okay. For my business, I would love to have a bit more education portals or like some sort of community based calls, like whether it's on Zoom, because one, I love speaking in terms of educating. So I think, you know, a lot of women have the similar questions, whether it's about nutrition or, you know, training. And so like I think it's nice to have other people on the call, for example, if it was on Zoom. That way, you know, we don't just learn for ourselves, like we learn through others as well. And sometimes, you know, being in those community calls can be like, oh, actually I'm not the only one going through this. Oh, actually, that wasn't a dumb question. Like everyone else kind of thinks the same. Like it's an awesome way to build community and also, yeah, like learn, which I'm big on. Like I love teaching. That would be one thing I would love to add to the business this year, and just really get better and refine my skills as that, I guess, practitioner, where it's, you know, recognizing patterns through blood work and symptoms and what's your body telling you and things like that, also while I'm still helping clients with training. So that would be my biggest goals for my business at the moment.
That's beautiful. I love that. And I will manifest. I will send you all the good energy so you get that, because I love that. I think community-based conversations as well, like you said, that would elevate to the next level and let you be able to reach more people in terms of that as well. So yeah, that's one.
Yeah, and also maybe do which I was doing in the past. I'd love to bring that back, like some community get-togethers, like whether it's a hike or some sort of activity. I think it's really nice to feel, because like sometimes in one-on-ones, you feel it's just you and the client, but it's nice to broaden that community, which I think a lot of women want to have that sense of belonging. As well, and like be a part of something bigger than themselves. And I think it's great to have a community where people feel comfortable and they can have that need. Yeah.
I just imagined her leading the group, and there's ladies behind. You know the walk they do in the movies?
Oh yeah.
She's like, come on, ladies, let's go.
What about like the Kath and Kim, like parachute pants? My favorite is like, I love hiking. My favorite is when you walk past like strangers and you both do the like that one.
You're a long way to go, mate.
Yeah.
Good luck. Like you have no idea what's ahead of you. It's like
exactly. Yeah.
You're going to do like the matching, you have to put your logo on like a matching jumpsuit and also sell that for merch. So all the ladies are wearing it out on the town. And you just see these ladies walking.
Well, let's go, ladies. Yeah.
That's right. Okay, let's go.
We'll do whatever it is, like Camp Rock. No.
Yeah. I love that.
That's so funny.
You're a DJ as well. We need to tell everyone she's also DJ Tayla.
Yes.
So when you're
DJ Tayla Made.
What?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I feel like just on the side, like I actually know a lot of music and I know a lot of beats, and I feel like somewhere in another life I may have been a DJ or some sort of, musical producer. But I love like having different themes of like when I'm training clients, it might be a pop theme from the thousands and it's all that day. And so I love mixing things up a bit. Or David Guetta, yes.
Well, don't limit yourself, Tayla. You can have a turntable at your gym. Like that's a possibility.
There's a lot of things from Ashley's recommendations. There will be a lot of things that this gym turns into. So.
I'm saying, like, get some memes on your wall. Like when we walk in, I would love it to walk in one day and she's behind the DJ table. Get ready for kill her.
Chicka split squats. All right.
I love that. That's a great idea.
They're good tunes.
Yes.
I just to say this, when you have your community too, because High School Musical's a big thing in our generation, I feel like you guys walking down, we're all in this, like all the ladies are clapping and you're like at the front. I just think there's just so much potential here.
You were surprised. I was planning to do a mob dance. No, joking. No. That's what we're secretly training for.
Where are you doing that? Tell us where you're doing that. Are you doing in Broadmeadows? Are you doing it in the city?
There will be signs.
Gladstone Park? We.
No, that's a good idea. Back to the drawing board.
Yeah. you have a lot to pull from, a lot of ideas.
Any ideas, anyone? Just put it in the comments and we'll send them to Tayla or she'll read them.
Exactly.
We're going with this business for this year, maybe next. Like, wow, we're going to see you on ads doing the whole Bold and the Beautiful thing.
Is that thing still around?
I honestly don't know, but I would love it to come back. It's just really entertaining.
Actually, like, fun fact, my name's Taylor from from Bold and the Beautiful. My dad named me that.
Wow, there's lore.
Yeah, there you go.
She's a good actress as well. Like, there's just so many signs. I've seen voice acting as well.
Yes. And
you don't have to do it if you don't want to, but like when she pulls out Probably the one that shocked me the most was the grandma one. Like, I was like, damn, are you ready for the 80s?
What was the grandma one? What would I have been saying? Like, oh, Ashley, like I don't know what I was back in my day, love. Like that sort of like old lady.
Talking about my knees. I think I said something like my knees are old, and then she pulled out the grandma voice, I think.
It just kind of happens. Like it depends on where the conversation's going. It might turn into like a real old Aussie man from the country. It might turn into an old lady. It might turn into, a lot of things.
It's like a full improv with strength training.
It might turn into animal farm noises. We're not sure. It just depends on the day.
We love the wide range you have, Tayla. That's awesome.
Yep.
All right. So as a closing, I can't believe we're already coming towards the end, unless we want to keep talking, which is fine with me. But if someone listening feels disconnected from their body or feels intimidated by maybe walking into a gym or kind of entering the fitness era, especially because we're in the new year right now, right? What would you want them to hear?
What I would want them to hear is it's okay to ask for help. I think if you're feeling like you don't have the answers, which is totally fine, there are answers out there. And sometimes it's a matter of asking better questions. So sometimes people can help you navigate those questions, or it's a matter of just finding the answers, but having the support through a coach potentially could help you feel reconnected and help you navigate that. Sorry, I think I said that wrong, but essentially, what I would say is sometimes it's just like we don't have the answers yet, so we just, I think, asking better questions like, what would I want to feel like? What does maybe like, who do I want to have? Like, who do I want to be? I don't know if you're familiar with the be, do, have kind of philosophy. So maybe it's just really drawing back to, what does the person I want to be look like, feel like? What would they do? Because then you can start reverse engineering of those next steps potentially of, okay, well, me, Tayla, I want to be someone that's fit. Okay, that's so vague, but what does fit look like? In situations where you're tempted, what would that future self do? So then you can start having the behaviors that associated with the person that you want to be. And then eventually you can have that. But sometimes asking for help, like professionally through coaching, could help kind of speed up the process or help you get out of the resources that we do have. You only know as far as you know, and that's okay. So, like, learning from others can help you heaps.
Yeah. And I would even, venture to say that even you talking, like today in this episode, you make it so human, you make it so comfortable, you make it so safe that anybody who does feel scared or intimidated to walk into these spaces, you have right here on your screen, wherever you're watching this right now, a true example that, people are there to help you at the end of the day. And not everything needs to be scary. Not everybody's going to be mean or hostile or whatever, the worst case scenario is that you're imagining. There are loving, welcoming spaces that want to help you move forward towards whatever it is that you want to achieve, and also achieve optimal health in whatever that looks like for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think people get maybe a wrong impression of what someone that goes to the gym needs to look like. And that can prevent a lot of people, like, I'm only allowed to go to the gym when I look a certain way, or if I lose 10 kilos, then I'm accepted, which is definitely not, I guess, the right way of thinking, but it is common. And, you know, you want to find that community where you do feel comfortable, like it's like your tribe. So whether that looks like a group fitness spaces that you feel comfortable with, or certain different gyms, or it doesn't have to be strength training. It could be a version of exercise that really aligns with you in the phase that you are in. Or it is like that one-on-one style of coaching. I think, that's really important too. And I guess it ties down to what I have kind of been saying, is that disconnect of maybe goals and reality, or expectations, or standards put on us from society. And so it really I guess drives people away from pursuing their health or their goals or their fitness, because they don't feel like they belong in that, or they have to look a certain way or be a certain someone. But it really isn't that. And with the whole social media, like, it is that unrealistic body type, and I guess skinny talks recirculating again. And it's just, I think, there's that real disconnect of what like real humans look like, what it feels like to belong to somewhere, to have people that support you and listen to you, as you were saying.
It's so projective online. It's absolutely, I mean, I'm not surprised, but it's diabolical to actually see people to make comments such as, you know, you shouldn't be in the gym then, or specifically it's on the gym clothes as well. You shouldn't be wearing that, or you shouldn't be, especially with your body type. And it's like, it's diabolical for you to be speaking on someone else's body. Like that's it. It's just diabolical to speak on someone else's body. And just for anyone as well, like, people do not speak for your body. They don't speak for your health. That is why we've been talking about the self thing so much, is because at the end of the day, walking into a gym space and having someone project, what the hell do they know about your body? What the hell do they know about what you need to do for yourself, or what you feel? No one can speak for something that they don't experience. So
absolutely. I think it's funny that that the people that have the most to say are like completely not doing anything for themselves as well. That's what I find. And you know, I try to say to my clients, like, oh, you know, this auntie said this about me, and I should be eating this much, and what I'm doing is wrong. I'm like, what are they doing? Oh, nothing. Okay. Why are you taking advice from someone that you probably wouldn't be in their position or want to be in their position? I think it's really important to, like, you know, you want to do the right thing. And sometimes the people that I don't know if this is a topic, but like, you know, some people that care about you, the closest ones to you, probably will have a lot to say about your journey. And whether they mean it negatively or not, sometimes it's like they come from a good place, but you got to learn to kind of brush it off and just focus on why you're doing what you're doing. Like when I was going through my own journey, and I had a lot of people telling me, oh no, like, oh, you're so dedicated to the gym, Tayla. I really appreciate all that hard work you do, but I just feel like your body is not really changing. Like, what a shame. And I was like, and then I got told, oh no, muscles are ugly. They're not for women. They're for like men. And then, oh no, like skinny is better. And then I was just like, it's so much noise. And, you know, if you are that kind of person that maybe doesn't have like a strong sense of self, like you don't know who you are, like this is a great opportunity to find that out, because it's a unique journey to you. You might think what you want at the start, it might change. You know, I hated muscles when I first started gym. I'm like, I don't want any of that. I don't want a little bump. And then over time, like I loved how that made me feel, because it showed it was a reflection of my hard work. Like it's allowed to change. You're allowed to change. You're allowed to have an idea of who you want to be, and you can chase that, and that's okay. Like regardless of whatever you do out of fitness and health, like You're probably going to disappoint some people along the way, but that's adult life. You know, it's okay, but it's your life and you're going to sit with yourself at the end of the day. You know, you sit, if you're going to take in everyone's thoughts and beliefs and projections of you, like that's only going to put you down. So, yeah.
Anti-health. We're not off topic because it's on topic to the reality that we've all experienced. We all have stories on what I'm just going to say, like anti-health, because it is. How can you say women shouldn't have muscles? So what? Are we meant to look like, you know, in Harry Potter where he casts a spell on Harry's arm and removes the bone? Have you guys seen that?
Oh, yeah, and it's like...
Are we meant to look like that? Are we meant to just have like nothing, no hair, no nothing? Like we're just meant to be porcelain dolls with no muscle. It's just, to me, it just screams lookism. And it's completely against like human at the end of the day. It's completely against that. And for us to internalize something that isn't for, it's like there's not one part of it that's for the greatest good of you. It is just debilitating yourself. And I'm speaking from experience in that too, that it's just listening to everyone else. You're never focusing on actually like the actual journey that you could have with your health. Truly, it's just insane. Like we, as humans, we really need something to happen, like an alien to come past and beam us and to really change this shit up, because it's just insane when you think about it. My gosh.
Yeah.
I love that you said that you're allowed to change, because I think a lot of people don't realize that and oftentimes seek or want permission to be who they are when they really just, they don't need that. Just go out, be you, do your thing, follow the things that interest you, and then see how things evolve from there. And I love everything that you just said, even though you said it's off topic, like Ash reiterated, it's not, it's all a part of this. And wow, beautiful.
Yeah.
And now you can play Bon Jovi, It's My Life, as the DJ.
No. Yeah, no, I agree completely. And I think a powerful thought, a quote I heard was people are afraid to change who they are because they are too attached to who they have been. And I think it's really important in terms of this space that like that asking for permission, or sometimes we can be disappointed because we're too attached to, that Tayla back then, she was doing all these things. Why can't she do it now? And what I was saying to you earlier is that if you can have those kind of constant check-ins with yourself, that actually this is what life looks like for me right now. This is the goals that I can achieve. This is what I'm realistically prepared to do. It's not easy. It's sometimes confronting. Like no one wants to feel like they're not doing enough at times. You know, you want to feel like you're kicking goals or you're doing things. And so we want to feel like we can probably do more than what we're capable of, you know? So just having that reality of, okay, it's okay to let go of who we are. Or, you know, some people, if this is related, you know, some people might struggle with weight, for example, because when they were, let's just say, skinny or like had like they were, I guess, less weight, a lot of things happened to them at the time. And they might have been going through something negative. Maybe it's abuse, maybe some sort of trauma, maybe things were going on. They're different things. And so they're attaching that person they were when they were slimmer. And it's like the weight is now like a barrier for them of like that they can't move past because they're associating, that's how I was when I was sad, or you know, these were going on, and then there's like this association. So you know, I think it just really comes down to that awareness. Like the mind is so powerful. You can do all the reps and sets in the gym, you can train the house down, but like moving past some of the thoughts that we have or beliefs and challenging them. It's okay to challenge beliefs here and there. It's okay to change. It's okay to be who you want to be. You don't need permission. This is your permission. I give you permission.
Oh, yes. We shall go forth. With
Yes.
full consent. I actually have one last question that I want to ask you.
Yeah, of course.
With what you're talking about, do you find that to be the biggest challenge with working with clients? Because essentially, it's your knowledge against years of programming, generations of programming in a lot
Absolutely.
of
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah. Like, it's why I'm so interested in human behavior is because that's like, I'll say 80-90% of the work is helping navigate people. Like, you could be on the same plan, you both could be on the same program, like training wise, nutrition wise, but how it's delivered to you might be different to Ashley. It's like how I'm speaking about it, how it's going to relate back to you, how the type, or how fast paced we go, or how slow we go, or do we change, like it's so dependent. And a lot of that can come from just your own beliefs of yourself. Maybe you don't feel like you have the confidence. Is that what you need to work on? Is there some other deeper issues? Like, for example, I had a client who had years of yo-yo dieting, years of like losing weight really quickly and then putting it back on. And for example, like I just like, I'm like, you need to eat a little bit more. Like sometimes that's another thing, that's a whole other topic. When you eat a bit less for a long period of time, like you associate like just normal eating with, oh, it's too much. And I know I want to lose weight, but how does eating more equal losing weight? So that's like some challenges a lot of women have. But it was like, she was constantly saying, I'm full though, I can't eat more, I don't know how you want me to eat. And then I just like started to think about it deeper, and I was like, okay. And I said, look, do you remember a time where you actually felt hungrier? She said, oh no, not really. I'm like, okay. I'm like, was there a time like, do you feel like when you were dieting, maybe you were constantly telling yourself, I'm full, so you don't feel like you need to eat? I said, do you feel like you've said it in the past, like you've had those behaviors where, I'm just saying, oh, I'm full, so it stops you from eating more, or no, I'm stuffed. Like, so it helps you stay in control, which ultimately helps you feel safe. And so, it was just a simple question as that, which is actually the mentality, the psychology. It's not the diet. And then she just like almost had a breakthrough to like, at the time, and was like, oh my God, like I didn't think of it that way. And I said, look, like sometimes it's conditioned behavior. You've associated like that type of eating as that's what gets results. That's what keeps you in control. That's what's safe. And sometimes the things that you say to yourself then start to be your beliefs, and then that can have like a physiological impact as well. Like you start suppressing your hunger hormones, like in this example. So I think that, yeah, it's definitely really important to navigate safely people's mindsets and behaviors. And I think it's also important that you ask the right questions so that clients can think of it themselves. Like you don't want to be told, you don't want to be like, this is just like a coaching skill, I guess I would recommend. Like you don't want to be saying, oh, you're doing this wrong and you're doing that wrong, or, and it may not be wrong. Like I don't think of that black and white kind of mentality, but, if you can ask the right questions, a lot of people will have the answers within them. It's just, they just didn't have that thought to answer it. So if you ask better questions, it's a big lesson, I would say. Yeah.
Sometimes you need somebody to reflect it back to you for you to realize you knew the answer all along. Yeah,
exactly. That's what coaching is ultimately about at times.
Yeah.
The awakening. You're just the awakening. The big bang itself. You should put that as a poster on your wall as well. I am the awakening. Be prepared.
Ashley, you need to become a career designer.
Honestly, with the creativity that she has, I feel like she could just rip this stuff out from the printer, like one by one, design. That wall would be packed with stuff. I never heard.
It would have to
Don't
be
love
in
your child, love
seasons.
your. Yeah. I mean, some of this stuff I hadn't heard of until Tayla said it. And I'm like, damn, like you know your stuff, you know the humor, put it on your wall.
Yes. I used to say that I'm a bit of a meme queen. Right.
I love that. Meme
Now
is
that's
a
another
language.
thing that goes on the wall.
Yeah.
Next to
Amazing.
her, next to her qualifications, and then it just says like meme queen with the little
Yeah.
queen theme.
I need to get like, surely like Team You would have a handmade crown. Meme
Yeah.
queen.
100%.
She get that.
100%. DJ and meme queen. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, voice actor.
DJ
I
meme
can read
queen.
your books. Oh my god, bring client their books to help them sleep.
Yeah.
Do you want the grandma voice? Do you want what other voice have you done? Do you want the English voice? Ooh, I see it.
Yeah, I should do like an audio book of me speaking, like to help people go to sleep in different voices. I think that would be a good one.
Yeah.
This is white noise.
Can you do Mary had a little lamb in the Aussie version?
Yeah. Nursery rhymes are coming up in June this year.
We'll put the link in the description below, guys. You can buy the album.
Oh yes.
Well, if anyone wants to be a
let's play it.
producer, let me know.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Well, this
Thank
has
you.
absolutely been wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you
You've
for
been a
having me.
dream. You are fantastic, and I only, wish you more continued success and happiness and involvement in all the areas of your life. And yeah, just thank you for everything. You're wonderful.
Oh, thank you so much. No, I appreciate it. I hope anyone listening, and hopefully yourselves just took any value out of it. Like that's always my goal. Like if we can just walk away with something, then I feel like my job's done, or like I've been able to help in some way. So yeah, hopefully you took something out of today. I know I did. So it's great.
Absolutely. Thank you for your guidance and your wisdom and your passion. And I'm sure we might, if you want to come back on, you're welcome.
Yeah, for sure.
So until then, thank you. And thank you all for watching. And until next time. Bye.